Sitaram Yechury, General Secretary of the Communist Party of India, Marxist. Good evening. Congratulations. This is Arnab here. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. And many congratulations to you, Sitaram Yechury.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Goswami. I can hear you loud and clear as always.
Mr. Yechury, you never are short of a nice friendly jibe, are you, Mr. Yechury? Now, Mr. Yechury, I appreciate that. Mr. Yechury, you know, in your first set of conversations which you've had since you took over as CPI-M General Secretary, and also in your speech, you spoke about changing the appeal factor of the left, of the CPI-M. Do you have any concrete plan in your mind on how you plan to do that?
Yes, we have, in fact, but we have to, first of all, we have formulated, but these need to be considered properly by the entire party, and then only then it can be put in place, and that's why we have decided to hold what we call an organizational plenum, but before the end of this year. And I think once we complete that process, all this should be in place.
You have to.
Yeah.
Now, I was just saying that, you know, while you do that, you are also aware, and you said your fortresses are under attack. Mr. Yechury, do you think you can regain Bengal? Because it seems to be completely now between the Trinamool and the BJP as far as the conversation is going. Do you think you can regain Bengal?
Well, you know, Mr. Goswami, that I always revel in surprising you. I only will surprise you by regaining Bengal, and we will. And even in these elections, you'll see that it's no longer only a choice between the Trinamool and the BJP, as you put it. Regaining Bengal requires, first of all, for us to defeat this politics of terror and violence that has been unleashed since 2009 more acutely, and that can only be done when the resistance to this violence will grow. What has helped the Trinamool Congress in succeeding in quietening the CPI-M is actually attacking that link between the CPI-M party structure and the people, and it is those people or those comrades of ours who have been targeted, and many of them were eliminated. So it takes a little time for us to reforge these links with the people. In that interim, because there is a government of the BJP at the center, some people have the illusions that they may protect, the BJP may protect them against the atrocities being committed by the Trinamool Congress. So you would find a temporary shift, but it's already the reverse factor is already operating as far as the BJP is concerned.
What's your objective fact, Mr. Yechury? Mr. Yechury, on the basis of which objective fact are you saying that the BJP tide is turning? And what is your time frame for regaining Bengal, for which you won't have to surprise me, by the way? You'll have to shock the Trinamool Congress and the BJP. What's your time frame?
I know, Mr. Goswami, your heart is in the right place, so you won't be surprised. Maybe you'd be happy, which will be good. But the time frame is something we cannot really set in advance. So this, as soon as possible, is what we are trying to achieve it. It could be 6 months, but definitely before the assembly elections are due next year, are due in 2016. That would be the time frame in which we are attempting that. But the attacks on us are both real and very intense. And the reason why I say that the BJP's reverse clock is ticking is because that both the BJP and the Trinamool have been hoping that the counter-communalization that both of them have been doing in the state, while one caters to communal, Muslim fundamentalism, and the other to Hindu communalism, that is not really working now. And that is, we are very grateful that is not working now. People are seeing through that mischief, that being the two sides of the same coin, where fundamentalism and communalism feeds on each other.
Sure.
and mercifully Bengal will be spared of that agony, and that I think the process has begun.
Mr. Yechury,
you find that resistance against these attacks growing.
Now, Mr. Yechury, at a national level,
yes,
at a national level,
yeah,
even those people, many people who have been enthusiastic about the left have felt, and I'm sure you have as well, that the appeal of a non-Congress, non-BJP national alternative, which is something the left could have worked on till maybe at least a decade back, has now been acquired by the Aam Aadmi Party under the leadership of Arvind Kejriwal. At a national level, do you have any plans and ambitions at all, or have you given those up and let the Aam Aadmi Party take over center stage instead?
No, we have not, and we will not give up those ambitions, primarily because we aim to create a system whereby the people's conditions of livelihood improve, and where this sort of exploitation that is taking place today in every field will simply cease. Now that remains, but how do we achieve that? The primary focus, at least of what I would be trying to do, is to develop mass struggles against these policies, both of communalism and economic policies, and that can only happen if our independent strength also grows. So the focus would be through the unleashing of mass struggles, the independent growth of our party. As far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, you please recollect, when they were in the election mode in Delhi, in many parts, in many constituencies, we supported them. But at that moment itself we warned, unless there is clarity on these two important issues, where do you stand vis-a-vis these economic policies that are imposing greater burdens on the people and this communalism that is dividing our society? You cannot define your position in Indian politics. And I think it's the lack of definition of where they stand in this Indian politics at the moment is why you are having these live shows of what is happening in the Aam Aadmi Party. So I'm glad you said when you talked to the Aam Aadmi Party under the leadership of Mr. Kejriwal and not the others who are contesting that leadership. Well, that is their inner party affair. Let them settle it. But it is bound to happen if you have this lack of clarity on what is the objective today in the given political conjecture.
Yes.
And that is opposing these economic policies that are worsening the livelihood conditions of the vast majority of our people, and against this communal
but Mr. Yechury, having had the privilege and opportunity of knowing you for long and following your political career, I can, if you allow me an observation, I find that there is a basic dichotomy between your consensual nature and your competitive approach. By nature, you are a person who seeks consensus. And you are schooled in the political philosophy of Harkishen Singh Surjeet, who was the glue among all opposition leaders through the second half of the 90s when there were momentous political events taking place. However, I find in your response to my last question an answer which says I will compete with the Aam Aadmi Party rather than work with them. Now, most people will want Sitaram Yechury to be a non-competitive glue. Allow me to complete. To be a non-competitive, non-threatening, consensual glue. But in order for you to do that, Mr. Yechury, they will want an MOU from you indirectly that you will not get onto their turf. How will you manage this contradiction?
You see, there's no conflict here, Mr. Goswami. Yes, Comrade Surjeet was the glue, but that glue did not come through lack of competition or abstaining from competition. We would severely and very aggressively campaign on the values which we believe and adhere to as being essential and important for the country's future and the people's future. I am here not competing with the Aam Aadmi Party. I was only very politely reminding them when we said you settle these issues and what is your policy approach to these two basic questions.
Right.
Otherwise there will be problems
but will you
for themselves, and that has unfortunately turned out to be true.
Will you be squeamish?
We supported the Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi elections.
Will you be squeamish if I were to very clearly ask you?
In Delhi elections.
Yeah, you did, but you were not party general secretary. If you want to be competitive with them, tell me, Mr. Yechury, will you forever only support the Aam Aadmi Party? Will you be squeamish in saying you are willing to compete with the Aam Aadmi Party at a national level? Let me ask you, are you willing to compete with the Aam Aadmi Party at a national level as an national alternative?
No, compete on what, Mr. Goswami? Let me please, for heaven's sake, please remember, I am not here to compete or to comply with. I am here to actually highlight the issues which I think are important. A competition will come only when there is a diverse or there is a dichotomy in the issues between us and the Aam Aadmi Party. When there is no such dichotomy, why should there be competition?
So you'll work together with them.
But if there is a dichotomy, then of course there will be competition. But whether there will be a dichotomy or not, it's up to them to decide, not us.
So you will...
We are saying these are the two issues.
Yeah.
So we are asking them, where do you stand on them?
And if they say on issues we are with you on the same turf, then you won't compete with them. You'll continue to support them at a national level, from what I understand.
Let them say no. I understand your eagerness. I understand your urge to inform the nation what is happening. But let the Aam Aadmi Party tell us where they stand on these issues.
Mr. Yechury, you're a brand new General Secretary of the CPI-M. The nation would want to ask you many questions. But the fundamental issue tonight is that there is a point which many believe is a point of no return, which we've reached in our national politics very soon after the general elections. You've commented on it. You've gone to the extent of saying, and if I may quote you, broad-based opposition unity is needed to prevent the Trimurti of neoliberal reforms, aggressive Hindutva and the authoritarian trend of the BJP government from becoming a Trishul to damage common man's interest in the country's secular democratic fabric. This is your comment on the one side. Yesterday, on the other side, the Prime Minister of India made another strong comment when he said it is only perverted minds who question the land bill and say it won't work for farmers. On both sides tonight, am I wrong in saying that we are seeing, yeah, he said that. Now, on both sides, we are seeing very, very strong positions being taken. People will be concerned that whether we have an issue-based opposition right now or we have a blanket opposition to the government. Similarly, the government will ask whether we have an opposition which is in permanent rebellious mode or is willing to stretch a hand of help when required in the national interest. Mr. Yechury, where do you see the nation's political situation right now in the context of the comments being made?
In the context of the common people, Mr. Goswami, I am telling that the government come and sit with us and discuss what they think is right with the land bill and listen to us when we say what is wrong with it.
There seems to be no common ground.
This is how a democracy should work. Every government of the day, it doesn't bulldoze the legislations, but it works with the opposition so that these legislations are adopted. We have had this tradition of all-party meetings on important legislations. Not one has been called by this Modi government. We have had the tradition of discussing the contentious parts or the contentious articles in any legislation. Not once has there been any consultation on these aspects. And now when we say, since it's a new bill that you brought, let it go to the Parliamentary Standing Committee for a proper examination, that is brazenly refused. So what do you want us to make out? That this government is not willing for any consensual approach.
But now
let me finish. Now let me finish, Mr. Goswami. I complied with you all the while. There's only one comment. I've said it in the floor of the Rajya Sabha. When the chairman, the Honorable Vice President of India, asked me why am I insisting on a vote, I told him, sir, it's on record. I told him, sir, I've been challenged to a fight by nobody less than the Prime Minister of India. And it's not in our character to back off in front of such a challenge. If the government is willing to discuss with us, we are willing. If they don't want to discuss, if they want to threaten a joint session, if they want to bulldoze the legislation,
they can.
So be it. We are not defining the terms. They are.
That sounds like a threat, Mr. Yechury. Sounds like a bit of a threat.
And sounds like a?
Sounds like a threat.
No threat at all. No threat at all. No threat at all. On the contrary, we are saying that you please be explicit in what you are seeking.
Mr. Yechury,
don't say the opposition is not cooperating.
Mr. Yechury,
at least as far as we are concerned.
No,
I don't know about the other opposition.
Yeah, I understand. But Mr. Yechury, the other perspective on this is that the BJP says that there is a lot of unnecessary, factually incorrect stereotyping that the opposition is doing on the basis of the land bill. For example, today Rahul Gandhi spoke about corporate houses. Yesterday also Rahul Gandhi floated this theory in the public domain that you have also spoken in the past. You suspect, you say that the land bill is something to do with promises made to business houses during the election campaign. Now, if someone were to ask you, given the seriousness of this allegation, why aren't you willing to furnish proof to back your allegation? Or is this only to add to the rhetoric?
I'll tell you, you want proof. You want proof. Unfortunately, Mr. Goswami, I've got nothing against conducting a debate of this nature through the media. Nothing against it, please believe you me. But the point is, why is the government not willing to discuss this across the table with the opposition parties? I'll give you the proof. I'll give you the proof. You said for the special economic zones, you have acquired land of a certain amount. More than 50% of that is lying vacant with no activity on it, according to a government of this Modi government, who answered a question in the Rajya Sabha in the last session. Why should the fertile land that was once agricultural land be lying unused for over 5 years? If you want to build your industry there, why are you not doing it?
They say their argument not mine, Mr. Yechury.
Please answer that question.
Their argument not mine. No, 1 second. Let me to take the discussion forward. Their argument not mine is their argument not mine, Mr. Yechury, is
Goswami, since you are being the devil's advocate, I am answering through the advocate. Since it's their argument, I am telling you today, you have taken over 1 kilometer on either side of the Yamuna Expressway. You said it is for the industrial corridor. Is it not a fact that this entire land is now being given to a builder and a real estate builder? I don't want to name them. And where there's no industry that's coming up except real estate profiteering.
Now may I, Mr. Yechury?
That is the proof. That is the proof.
I know what you're speaking.
That is the proof
I know
I'm giving you.
You're talking about the National Highway case. In fact, that is an instance which the BJP had presented in 2013 while debating the bill. I understand where you're coming from, but their argument, not mine, is all of this happened, which you are talking about the injustice and land which has been taken away under the old legislation. They have linked your opposition to your support for the old legislation.
No, how do we know it won't happen now? How do we know it won't happen now? And under the old legislation, when we opposed all this, it was the BJP that supported the Congress and defeated our amendment.
Now, their argument not mine, Mr. Yechury. Their argument not mine.
Now, how do I?
Their argument not mine.
How do I today? No, but I'm telling you the facts, Mr. Goswami.
No, but the other point.
Through their arguments at me, I'm telling you my answer.
Their argument, Mr. Yechury, is that this is an opportunistic alliance. There are a bunch of ambitious people. How can Sitaram Yechury and Mamata Banerjee be on the same side? They say there is only one purpose they have, is to bring down the Modi government or to attack the Modi government. There's a political motive behind it, which is the reason why people from different ideological hues who have little in common and are in permanent battle are coming together, Mr. Yechury.
No, Mr. Goswami, you've not only known me for a long time, but you covered our party also in all your daily news bulletins. I am standing where I am standing vis-a-vis this land bill. If somebody else comes and joins me, please ask them, not me. Whether it's the Congress party, the ruling party, whether it's the BJP, the ruling party. I stand in the middle of the Rajya Sabha in the front row while they keep changing their positions, and I oppose, and I've opposed when they were in government, I oppose now.
Will you, Mr.
Others
Yechury?
who didn't join me then are coming and joining me now. It's not my problem, no.
Now, Mr. Yechury, finally, what role do you see for yourself? I mean, the general prediction, and I hope you will not be unnaturally modest, I wouldn't say, you say unnaturally, but I would say Mr. Yechury, unnecessarily modest, because you are modest by nature. I hope you will be candid enough to tell me what plans you have, because the left has, in the past, has gone into a little bit of a shell, Mr. Yechury. And this is not aimed at the criticism of your predecessor. It's generally been, the left has gone into a shell over the last decade, and there is an expectation that a more outgoing, a fairly extrovert Sitaram Yechury, who has historically and politically strong relationships with various parties, will now play a greater role. So would we be wrong in expecting you to play a more proactive role as an opposition leader of the left, interacting more closely with other parties, including your old friends from the Janata Parivar?
Definitely. Definitely, we'll play a very proactive role. We'll play this role in the defense of our country and the working people of our country. But in order to do that, we have to put our house in order. We have to regenerate our capacities to reach out to vaster sections of the people and to strengthen ourselves. And believe you me, it's only on the basis of our independent strength that we can play any meaningful proactive role. So the priority would be to first strengthen ourselves, and that is where my focus would be.
Well, Mr. Yechury, pleasure talking to you. Congratulations again. A lot of people very eager to see where the left goes under your leadership. Sitaram Yechury, General Secretary of the CPI-M, a day after taking over. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.